What a mess in College Station, Rod. What a mess. Looks like Mike Elko is down in College Station. He arrived in College Station middle of the night. But, man, how bad did it get on Saturday night into Sunday morning? There are reports, Rod, that Mark Stoops flew from Lexington to College Station, landed.
Yeah, agreed
went back.
to it. Yeah, was all in. And then I guess the decision makers at A&M were like, nah, he's not the guy.
There was such backlash.
Yeah, from the board.
Like everyone. Yeah. Anybody that matters.
But how do you not – okay, this is my thing. Okay, before you make that move and before you go all in on Mark Stoops, allegedly, all right, how are you not in touch with your board members and the decision makers to know how they feel about it, to gauge their, their interest in this candidate? You should. That means that's a bigger issue because that means you're out of touch with the decision makers in the board.
Yes.
Right?
Ross Bjork, right?
Yeah.
Ross Bjork is running point on this hire, and he clearly, Mark Stoops had a game. They played Louisville. They beat Louisville in their rivalry game on Friday.
What are you doing?
Or on Saturday, I should say. They won that game, 38-31, and then next thing you know, the report surfaced because there were reports earlier on Saturday that Dabo Swinney became a real candidate.
Your Ryan Day stuff came up.
Ryan Day came up. I mean, I think Ross Bjork made a run at those guys through their agents, right? I think, and Dabo had a game, right? They had to play South Carolina. I think but Mark Stoops became the guy, and you're right. How do you allow him to get on an airplane if that did happen and fly to College Station? But the backlash was so. Remember when Sark got here and he hired Mike Stoops?
Oh, I remember that.
To the coaching staff.
And then people lost.
That didn't go well.
It did not go well.
Because he had been an advisor on the Alabama staff where Sark was. And I was like, well, he's a good coach, but he didn't. And give Sark credit. Sark realized pretty quickly, whoa.
The tail wagged the dog on that one.
That's not the
I'm
battle.
A new guy. Yeah.
That's not one of the battles I want to fight.
That's a hill that I'm not willing to die on.
No.
Stoops. No,
you don't want him? Okay.
Move on to somebody else.
Okay. That's an assistant coach who's coming in. This is okay. And I like him. We worked together at Alabama, but now I've realized
who's a better hire, Stoops or Elko?
I think Elko, but at the end of the day, we'll find out because I liked Mike Elko from the beginning. He helped recruit a lot of this recruiting class that's there.
That's true.
The locker room loves the guy, but is he A-level hire? We'll find out.
Well, you got to hire an A-level offensive coordinator. That's going to be big for him.
It is.
Who his OC is going to be huge.
His first staff because he'll build a good defense.
The defense, the defense wasn't the biggest issue for them. Their biggest issue was development on the offensive line and their offensive identity. And just not being modernized in terms of their offensive identity.
Look, Sark has talked a lot about the culture at Texas, and it certainly has just helped them.
And that's another one.
The culture at A&M is terrible. Even Aggie fans will tell you that seeing them play for 2 games without Jimbo is just a different team. They play with more energy.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't like Jimbo. That's pretty clear by the end.
But they didn't even let him say goodbye to the team.
I know.
It was like, no, you're good.
Well, but we'll find. I mean, the aftermath. In the end, you get Mike Elko. But man, because Mark Stoops was underwhelming, but he's done a good job at Kentucky. He's done more with less. He knows the SEC, and he's the track record's pretty strong. But he's a 7-8 win coach.
That's not what they want.
No.
That's not what the decision makers in Aggie land were willing to accept. So Elko, but you're right. Elko's a culture guy, so I think he will fix the culture. He's a defensive guy, so defense will be taken care of because the defense isn't necessarily bereft of talent at all. In fact, they're not bereft of talent anywhere, but that wasn't their biggest issue. That wasn't their fatal flaw. The fatal flaw was on offense, particularly the offensive line, and that's pass protection, why they keep going through quarterbacks getting hurt, and also the lack of modern cheat codes used and modern concepts used on the offense side of the ball, and that's on Jimbo. So whoever they hire an offensive coordinator, that'll make this hire of Elko a lot sexier and a lot palatable if the OC is good, if it's a good OC hire. And I don't know who it is right now, but there are a bunch of.
Well, it's kind of like if you're like Sark's an offensive guy. When he hired Pete Kwiatkowski, there were questions. In your first couple of years, you weren't sure, but now the defense has gotten steadily better, and they play at a high level right now. Longhorns, you feel pretty good about Pete Kwiatkowski as your defensive coordinator. Yep. You're right. Mike Elko's a defensive guy. He's got to make the right hire on offense at A&M. All right. We also got Dana Holgerson out at Houston. Not surprising. They lost to Central Florida on Saturday. That could be the Jeff Traylor spot, by the way.
Jeff Traylor or Gary Patterson. I think Traylor's the guy. I would go Traylor over Patterson, even though I can't go wrong with Gary Patterson. But he's a little younger, and he seems like his blueprint is a little bit more modern in terms of the outreach and connection with the community. He can just take exactly his blueprint and what he did to promote the brand of UTSA in San Antonio and just bring it straight to H-Town.
Yeah, you can.
And you got a sugar daddy in H-Town too, which he did not have. I'm sure UTSA's got some money there, but they ain't got a sugar daddy like Tillman Fertitta.
Not Tillman Fertitta.
And you get you need somebody who wants to be front and center. I love Gary Patterson, but Gary Patterson doesn't want to be front and center all the time. He just wants to coach ball, which he's great at. He's Hall of Famer.
Jeff Traylor needs both.
Yes, Jeff Traylor, he's fine being the face of the program. He's fine going to Rockets games, right? He's fine, going to hang out, going to speak to powwow and stuff like that. You need somebody who's going to do that.
Especially in that city, right? In San Antonio, it's the Spurs and no one else, right? In Houston, you've got the Texans and the Astros and the Rockets.
You got to go to the Astros game and go kick it.
Yes, you do.
You know what I mean?
If you want to get some headlines. But in the end, it's about winning